Chapter 2 Biological Classification, Video number 2. Students, in the first video we had discussed about the different types of classification, the 2 kingdom classification and the 5 kingdom classification. According to the 5 kingdom classification, we had studied that there are 5 kingdoms now: kingdom Monera, Protista, fungi, plantae and kingdom Animalia. So today we are going to study about kingdom Monera. And if you have not seen my first video, please go and see my first video, because in that I have explained to you about the 5 kingdom classification. And in that we had seen that kingdom Monera contains all prokaryotes. All prokaryotes are present in kingdom Monera. Kingdom Monera, basically prokaryotes are what, children? Bacteria. So kingdom Monera, the sole member of this kingdom is bacteria. Now these bacteria, you very well know, they are found everywhere. They are found in hot springs, deserts, snow, deep oceans, where very few life forms survive. Even there you can find these bacteria. These bacteria, they are also found as parasites, either ectoparasites or endoparasites. That means they are either found inside the living organism or they may be found on the body of the living organism. Now, bacteria can be grouped into 4 categories based on their shape. If you can see over here, the bacteria can be grouped into 4 categories based according to the shape. The very first is spherical shape, round shape. They are known as coccus or plural cocci. These type of bacteria are known as cocci. The second, rod shaped bacteria, they are known as bacillus. Third, spiral shaped bacteria, which is known as spirillum. Fourth, comma shaped bacteria, which is known as vibrim. Now children, these bacteria, if we see to these bacteria are they may be autotrophic or they may be heterotrophic. Both bacteria may be autotrophic as well as they may be heterotrophic. Now these bacteria, if they are autotrophic, then it can be photosynthetic or chemosynthetic. Children, you know what is the meaning of photosynthetic, but do you know what is the meaning of chemosynthetic? Chemosynthetic bacteria are those bacteria which do not use carbon dioxide as their source of energy, but rather they use some other thing as the source of energy. Like for example, nitrogen bacteria will use ammonium or nitrogen as the source of energy. Sulfur bacteria, sulfur oxidizing bacteria will use hydrogen sulfide as the source for the energy. So these are what, students? Chemosynthetic bacteria. Whereas photosynthetic bacteria, they use sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, and in presence of chlorophyll they perform the process of photosynthesis. Now these bacteria can be autotrophic, these bacteria can be heterotrophic also. Bacteria can be heterotrophs too, and the bacteria they generally depend upon organisms, or they depend upon dead organic matter for food. That means they can be saprophytes also. They heterotrophs they can be parasites, they can be saprophytes. Now these bacteria are basically grouped into 2 categories: archaebacteria and eubacteria. Archaebacteria are the bacteria which are found in almost all harsh habitats. Almost all harsh habitats you find these bacteria. These bacteria you can find in extreme regions, extreme climates. Like they can be found in extreme salty areas, and such type of bacteria are known as what? Halophils. Then these bacteria you can find in hot springs. These bacteria which we find in hot springs are known as thermoacidophils. If you find them in marshy areas, you call it as methanogens. Now children, why can these archaebacteria be found in almost all harsh habitats? Why? Because these archaebacteria, their cell wall is slightly different from the bacteria's eukaryotic bacteria. Is that clear? The eukaryotic bacteria are called true bacteria, and the cell wall is different, and because the cell wall has some special features, that's why they can be found in harsh areas. Like for example, I'll tell you what type of cell wall does it have. Generally, you know that cell walls are made up of cellulose, but the cell wall of these archaebacteria is not made up of cellulose. Rather, these cell walls do not contain a substance known as peptidoglycan. It does not contain. There is its absence of peptidoglycan, but there is present some proteins, and it is a non-cellulosic polysaccharide. Non-cellulosic, that means it does not contain cellulose and it does not contain peptidoglycan. Children, you must be thinking, what is peptidoglycan? See, it's a chemical, it's a compound, rather I should say, which is made up of amino acid and a special type of a sugar. That's why you call it as peptidoglycan. Now, these archaebacteria we have just now seen, it can be halophils, thermoacidophils, or methanogens. Now, methanogens bacteria, talking about methanogens bacteria, these methanogens bacteria are found in the gut of ruminant animals like cow and buffalo. That's why you have seen that you can use cattle dung for producing biogas. Why? Because the cattle dung contains methanogen bacteria which decomposes the dung and produces what? Methane, which is the major component of biogas. Now, let's talk about eubacteria. Eubacteria are the true bacteria. Is that clear? They are characterized by a cellulosic cell wall. Their cell wall is made up of cellulose, and their cell wall is rigid. These bacteria are if they are motile, they contain flagella. Now, children, generally there is a bacteria known as cyanobacteria, and the common name for cyanobacteria is blue-green algae. Generally what happens, we first used to think that because we are calling it as a blue-green algae, it is an algae. No, it is a bacteria. Its common name is blue-green algae because it contains chlorophyll A, which is a particular type of chlorophyll which is found in all green plants. So this chlorophyll is present in cyanobacteria. Now, because chlorophyll A is present, just like the other green plant, this cyanobacteria is a photosynthetic bacteria. These cyanobacteria are unicellular. Obviously, we are talking about prokaryotes, so it has to be unicellular, but they generally are found in colonies, or they are filamentous. They are found in freshwater or marine or terrestrial algae also. These colonies are generally surrounded by a gelatinous sheath. If you can see this diagram this is a diagram of a blue-green algae, nostoc, and if you can see this blue line, this is the gelatinous covering the bacteria nostoc. Now, these bacteria, they also form a bloom in polluted water bodies. They give a particular color to the water bodies. That's why we call that they form a bloom. Now, some of these organisms, these bacteria, they contain a special cell known as heterocyst. You can see over here, they contain a special cell known as heterocyst. These heterocysts can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Is that clear? Just like we had studied about rhizobium bacteria, it can fix atmospheric nitrogen. So this is an example of nostoc and Anabaena. They can also fix atmospheric nitrogen. Now, children, but this rhizobium does not contain heterocyst. Okay, I was just giving you an example like rhizobium you have studied can fix atmospheric nitrogen. Same way, nostoc and Anabaena can also fix atmospheric nitrogen, but they have a specialized cell known as heterocyst. Now, I have just now explained you about chemosynthetic bacteria, and like I told you that it can be nitrogen bacteria or it can be sulfur bacteria, depending upon what compound or chemical are they using for their energy production. Now, then let's come up to, we have just now talked about photosynthetic bacteria. Now let us talk about heterotrophic bacteria. Now there are many bacteria, large number of bacteria which are heterotrophic. They are basically decomposers, right? They are decomposers. Now for humans, these bacteria can be beneficial as well as they can create harm to the human beings also. Now let us first see which are the beneficial bacteria. Like for example, bacteria which helps in making curd from milk, or bacteria from which antibiotics are produced. Then like rhizobium, I had talked about that those are the nitrogen fixing bacteria which is present in the roots of leguminous plant. Now let us see some of the bacteria which causes damage to us. There are many bacteria which cause diseases to us, like diseases like cholera, typhoid, tetanus, citrus canker. They all can be caused by some of the bacteria. Now let us talk about reproduction in bacteria. Children, bacteria generally reproduces by fission. Now you have studied amoeba. Just like amoeba undergoes fission, same way bacteria may also undergo division, reproduction by binary fission. But whenever these bacteria they come under unfavorable condition, they generally produce spores, because you know these spores are covered with a thick covering known as cyst, and which helps them to overcome the unfavorable condition. Now these bacteria, some of the bacteria also can produce sexually, but this sexual reproduction which is shown by the bacteria is very, very primitive, very, very primitive. It is just only the DNA transfer from one bacterium to another. Because the DNA is being transferred from one bacterium to another, we consider it that it is a type of sexual reproduction, or it is a precursor of a sexual reproduction. Now, this till now I was talking about bacteria. Now there is one more prokaryote I will say, which belongs to kingdom Monera, that is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma are the organisms which lack cell wall, and they are the smallest living cells known till now, and they can survive without oxygen. And these mycoplasmas are pathogenic to animals and plants. They are never useful to us. So this we finish with the kingdom Monera, and in my next video I'll be discussing about kingdom Protista. So I'll be making next video will be kingdom Protista.